Brown rice has long been seen as the smarter, cleaner choice in the world of grains, a symbol of whole food wisdom and nutritional consciousness. It's marketed as the better alternative to white rice, thanks to its fiber-rich outer layer and trace amounts of vitamins and minerals. But this perception has been built, to a troubling degree, on a blind spot. Beneath the wholesome image lies a serious health concern that has been grossly undercommunicated to the public. Brown rice consistently carries a significantly higher load of arsenic, particularly inorganic arsenic, the most toxic form. A new study has found that brown rice contains 24% more total arsenic and a staggering 40% more inorganic arsenic than white rice. For context, inorganic arsenic is not just any chemical, it's a known carcinogen, a compound associated with increased risks of skin lesions, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and multiple forms of cancer. And the amounts being detected in commonly consumed brown rice are not just trace elements from an era long gone. These are measurable levels of a toxin being routinely ingested under the guise of healthy eating. The danger is especially pronounced for children under 5, who consume more food relative to their body weight than adults. This means that even modest portions of brown rice could expose them to disproportionately high levels of arsenic. The World Health Organization has directly linked early life arsenic exposure to impaired cognitive development and increased mortality in young adulthood. For pregnant women, chronic intake of inorganic arsenic has also been associated with higher risks of miscarriage, developmental disorders, and cancer risk later in life for the fetus. What makes the issue even more concerning is that arsenic tends to concentrate in the very layers of the rice grain that brown rice retains. In white rice, the outer layers, including the bran, are stripped away during processing, significantly reducing arsenic levels. But in brown rice, these layers are kept intact for their nutrient content, and with them, the arsenic load. So, while consumers may feel confident choosing brown rice for its marginally higher fiber and micronutrient values, they are inadvertently ingesting higher concentrations of a carcinogenic chemical that the body cannot easily eliminate over time. The phrase "don't panic" has often been used by researchers to prevent public overreaction, but it can unintentionally downplay a serious risk. The fact is, long-term, low-level exposure to inorganic arsenic isn't safe. It's cumulative. It builds up in the body over time and can lead to chronic health conditions that often don't surface until years or even decades later. The most disturbing part of this is that there's very little labeling transparency. Most rice packaging doesn't indicate where the rice is grown or what the arsenic levels are. Consumers are left to make choices with no real information, operating under nutritional myths that are outdated and increasingly contradicted by modern food safety data. Even among adults, particularly those consuming rice multiple times a week, such as individuals following gluten-free, vegetarian, or macrobiotic diets, this represents a potential health risk that's been largely ignored. Public health agencies have issued vague advisories, and while the FDA has provided some guidance for infants and pregnant women, there's been no real policy enforcement or consumer-facing education campaign. The average shopper has no idea that their go-to grain for clean eating could be exposing them or their children to a toxic compound linked to cognitive damage and cancer. Mitigation strategies like rinsing rice thoroughly and cooking it in extra water can reduce arsenic content, but only partially. These methods don't eliminate the risk. They merely lessen it. The more effective advice would be to diversify one's grain intake. Alternatives like quinoa, barley, millet, buckwheat, and even oats carry significantly lower arsenic levels while still delivering fiber and essential nutrients. The illusion that rice, particularly brown rice, must be the backbone of a healthy diet needs to be shattered, especially for populations most at risk. This study is not just a red flag, it's a flashing hazard sign. And while researchers may try to soften the blow with assurances that most Americans aren't eating dangerous amounts, the real issue lies in the hidden nature of the risk. If people knew that brown rice contains 40% more of a known poison than white rice, would they still serve it to their toddlers? Would they feel the same level of dietary righteousness eating it every day? It's time to move beyond the simplistic health narratives and take a more honest look at the risks we've been ignoring. Brown rice might come wrapped in the branding of whole food purity, but that outer layer comes at a cost. And for too many people, especially the youngest and most vulnerable, that cost could be far more than they ever expected.